Hello and welcome, folks, to another exciting week of the WSSEA Esports. That is the Washington State Scholastic Esports Association. Of course, I'm FBI Tugboat, joined with me, as always, Hot Sauce. Hot Sauce, how the heck you feeling?
Hey, feeling great. Excited to be back in the booth with you here as well. We've got two teams that have remained undefeated through these first 6 weeks. So I think it's going to be an exciting best of three, a short one in Overwatch, whereas you win that first map, but you're already at map and series points. So always great to start off on the right foot, but I'm excited to see what Lake Stevens and Nooksack Valley have to offer here today.
Very, very excited. I have two guaranteed facts for you folks. First, that both of these teams are undefeated, and second, that one of these teams will be exiting about an hour here with their first loss of the WSSEA season. First, folks, I want to say we got to keep the lights on. Hey, everyone, we want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this broadcast to all of you, helping to showcase some of the amazing talent that exists today within Scholastic Esports. Now, you can show your appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on your various social medias. Make sure to join their community on Discord, and don't forget to use the hashtag #PoweredByZotac or Zotac USA when you post, if you choose to do so. Hot Sauce. Yeah, it doesn't really get much better than this, my man. You said it. Best of three here. We'll be starting at Kings Row. We'll be going hybrid, control, escort. If we need to get it a fourth map, it will be a push map. This is a classic. We have the coin flip. Coin flip owner is Nooksack Valley. For Kings Row. The loser will pick the map. The winner will pick the side, as is done in Overwatch. The Overwatch that our fathers played and their fathers before them. Right.
Yeah, I mean, Kings Row, I think this is probably the most common map that we've seen in any league, whether it's Scholastic, Pro Scene. Kings Row has been a staple of Overwatch since as long as I can remember. So off to England we go. I prefer to start out on that defensive side myself, but there's a lot of long sight lines here. I expect to see maybe some of those Ashes, Widows, especially anything like that. But when we get to the Scholastic level, a lot of times it's more about those comfort picks, less about those meta picks. So I'm always interested to see what kind of compositions we'll be running.
It's a very, very good point, right? Not necessarily meta, but you are comfortable on. Taking a look, run through Lake Stevens. For no Lake Stevens, I'll have you know. We got Panda, we got Oh Mama, we got Berkey, we got AST Gopher, maybe your hints are referred to as Gopher, and we have Kakashi is better. I'm told it's a Naruto reference. Hot Sauce.
Love it, love it. Well, we'll see if they can get it done here. Lake Stevens, you can see mentioned on the top left of your screen, Nooksack Valley there on the top right. And I'll have to try and figure out some of those names. I see Grap, Bean Burrito, maybe Smudge Dop, Knuckles, and Agnes?
Agnes Tachyon? I think Tachyon sounds a little bit better. SMG, Smudged Op? Smudged Op? Smudged? Not sure. I think I like Smudged.
Yeah, you might be
If you
right
guys
about
have if you guys have some recommendations, be sure to put it respectively in chat. Game one, here we go. We got Nooksack Valley on the attack here first. Tanks? Talk about tanks. We got Reinhardt here on the right side for Nooksack Valley. We got Narissa on the other side. It's a little bit more mid-range, capabilities. Charge in, tries to find the corner. That player did not get out from the corner, and Smudge is going to pay for that first engagement with their lives.
Yeah, it's tough. This first choke point is very difficult. You have to pressure through this initial gate here, and where you see the Reinhardt kind of stampeding forward, gets a little overzealous and does get punished for it. Luckily, the walk back from spawn is a very short one, so you've got multiple opportunities, and you're most likely going to use them because this is one of the toughest spots. Just unlocking the payload itself is one of the more difficult things about Kings Row.
Ooh, a lot of pressure right there against Smudged again. The tanks not having an easy way so far, at least if they're the way of Nooksack Valley so far. Hot Sauce playing this first intro perfectly, honestly. Little bit of damage comes on the other side, but a nice headshot against a DPS. Oh mama, and now more of the supports. There you go, some support love here and showing up in the kill feed as well, Hot.
Yeah, we've seen Lucio come back into the swing of things. I think a lot of people were missing Lucio when Juno came out, but we certainly see him getting more involved with the Brawley comps. Unfortunately, we're going to say bye to Lucio and hello to Kriko. Gopher gets dangerously low, but that's the nice thing about this gate. You can kind of dip behind it. You got a place to hide, allow your supports to top you back off, and stay in the fight. That's the most important thing here from the defensive side.
Yeah, Omama did a great job taking out this DPS earlier, but they really have to pay attention to Grab now. It's not saying anything, and there you go, Tachyon showing up as well, the other DPS, but a little bit too much attention to the right side right there. So far, when attackers have kind of dipped off at this right corner, it just really hasn't gotten that done. Also, not really sure if that was time for the cleanse either, right? You already won this team fight. I guess cleanse comes in like a 12-second cooldown. Now that'll be back here soon.
Yeah, they'll look to get it back. Unfortunately, they're going to have to wait to get the tank back as well. Reinhardt falls early, not able to use that Earth Shatter. Gopher does go down as well. Their walk back from spawn is significantly longer as well. They're going to have to rely on the Terra Surge here and on getting close to the ult as well to stave off this attack now from Nooksack.
Yeah, Gopher is back, and they want to get this one started before Gopher gets back into the thick of things. That attack visor will be online here soon. On an island by themselves, the Reinhardt is left for a second. Big shatter. Here comes the Nano. Swinging for the fences and looking for more. A Nano of their own. Now a sleep dart against the Reinhardt. A perfectly placed one. Defense holding strong. Reinhardt once again left by themselves. And the attack visor reigns supreme. We're only looking at... Okay, so it was 3 ultimates dropped here from the defense, right?
Yeah, it started with that Terra Surge, but it bought enough time for Gopher to get back. He pops the Tactical Visor, and they have a ton of success. So, I mean, they've already eaten a ton of time off the clock. There's only about 60 seconds now for Nooksack to find a way to unlock the payload. They still have the Venture ult, which arguably is maybe the most dangerous one here next to that Tactical Visor as well. So they still have a chance. Unfortunately, Gopher going down early. This Ramatra switch, I think, is huge for Nooksack as well.
That Vendetta, or Venture, excuse me, is going to be able to get out from that with a little bit of extra bonus for the, just for some flavor. Here you goes. That's a lot against one. The Imre finding a lot up top as well. Heavy shot, light shot, everything going their way right now. Defense dropping one by one, losing a main source of healing in the Ana as well, and they're at least going to get to 33% done here. Now flirting with their second tick, so solidly done. Venture tries to get involved. Once they're down there, obviously they won't be able to take damage, but just like that, a switch comes in with the Kiriko ultimate. Okay, the Kitsune Rush, this should be enough, Hot Sauce.
Should be enough. We see the contention there, and with that, we will see red across the kill feed, and Lake Stevens tries to make a final stand. It takes the overtime fuse being lit for Nooksack to be able to unlock the payload, but they do so. They put a couple extra minutes on the clock, but they're getting very far forward here. They're vying for some space. They have to make sure that they don't fall early, though.
Ana and Kiriko on both sides. We have anti-healing capabilities. We also have, of course, the cleansing capabilities. Only ultimate on board right now is that Ana ultimate here for the Nano for Nooksack. Gopher just trying to find a way in edgewise. That's be a lot harder. Here comes the Kitsune Rush. Omama pops it pretty much just as soon as they get it. And that makes sense. If you're able to win this team fight here and get them back under this choke point, that'd be huge.
Trying to push him back there. We see Smudge Pop finding Berkey, though, and the Genji. No success this time. Beam Burrito to Smudge. The Annihilation comes out and does just that. It annihilates the competition. Lake Stevens, after a ton of early success, now having a little bit of trouble with these changes that are coming out from Nooksack.
Yeah, a fantastic job there from Smudge, knowing that they get the immediate healing pop, a little bit extra armor, right? Once that pops, ultimate obviously lasts a little bit longer as long as you're close to them, and they were, spitting distance away from 3 different players, so that one was gonna go wide. Nice anti against, that's immediately answered. Now here comes Annihilation up soon for Kakashi is better. They're trying to work this up so they can actually play it onto this corner. Nice Death Blossom, and the defense answers in kind.
Yeah, I mean, a great answer back here from Gopher. It was a Tactical Visor earlier. It's the Death Blossom this time, and he finds multi-kills in succession. So 48 seconds on the clock, though. And for Nooksack, they don't have to go too far. It's realistically 1 fight, maybe 2 fight territory if this one happens quickly, but you got an opportunity to put a couple more minutes on the clock, and realistically, it didn't look like you were going to get this far initially. So I'd love to see him be able to push it over the edge and find a couple extra minutes.
A lot of that is going to come off the back of Berkey here. Nasty, and gets sussed out. Nicely done. So does find one. Not going to be a completely fruitless venture there on the right side, but a couple of picks back and forth. And now Lake Stevens going to be able to find a couple here, about 10 seconds away. Will they actually be able to touch this? I just don't know. Knuckles might be there. Yeah, not going to happen.
not going to be able to get there, unfortunately. It was a good battle back, though. I mean, we saw them not even unlock the payload until the overtime fuse was lit. They get some good meterage along the way, but now it relies to them on that defensive side. Can they equally find similar success here? It's 102.4 meters is the distance that's on the board now.
Yeah, a lot of times Kings Row's success or failure is determined by whether or not you get to that second point, right? Not just obviously the time added to it, but I just feel like it's so much easier once you get to there. I mean, what, you only really have 2 more turns and it's wide open, and there's pretty solid bit of space in between spawn room doors and then actually where payload is, so it can be kind of tough to crack out of sometimes, even though obviously you have 2 different routes you can choose from. Taking a look at this, take a look at the defense as of right now. I mean, hey, the Ramatra worked earlier. Why would you do anything else?
I mean, we're going to see Kakashi go to the Ramatra here from the attacking side as well, away from the Orisa, and they're comfortable making some changes. I mean, from Gopher to Berkey, everybody really swapping up the composition here on the Lake Stevens side. So you feel like they're very comfortable on this map. It seems like they've got a game plan. We'll see if they can get it over the edge now. It's going to take one heck of an early stand here from Nooksack Valley. You feel like if Lake Stevens unlocks this payload early, has 4+ minutes or so to work with, they should be able to get to at least that second checkpoint.
Yeah, and getting there will be a victory for Lake Stevens if they get there, of course. Little Ramatra on Ramatra. Lifeweaver going to take to the skies here, maybe just to get a little bit of a better look at everything. And honestly, I'm not against that whatsoever, especially going back to the point that you made earlier about how mid-range damage, you know, like the Soldier 76 earlier, right? Like the Sojourn as well. Oh, Mama dropping really, really early right here. Offense getting super aggressive. I mean, we saw Nooksack take probably 60 seconds or so before they even really push across that initial choke point. They're going right to it, this offense is.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to try to match that aggression with aggression here, and we saw Lake Stevens with a great hold initially, but they're trying to power through here, get into that back line, create a disruption, find an early pick. Unfortunately, it's Gopher that falls first. It's a bit of plaid stripes in the kill feed as Grap on this Junkrat is having big success, and without Kakashi, without that tank, they need to find a way to regroup, reset, and attempt again while you still got 3 minutes to work with.
Great job from Nooksack getting toe onto point right here. That was pretty close to that first tick. Obviously, once you hit first tick, that progress cannot be reduced. Grab. Fantastically done. Little DPS duel. They're going to come out on top here with or without the assistance of their trap. Now trap set right on corner. This is perfect. Almost gets to it. I think actually Kakashi is better. Might have gotten that in just to the last second in between. No, it's still up there. Excuse me.
Now, unfortunate as they lose Kakashi again, and maybe want to consider going back to that Orisa or something that was working for them previously. It seems like they're having trouble kind of breaking through here initially. Plus, you've got that Junkrat just lobbing into nades. Sometimes a good Echo, a Pharah, something with a little bit of verticality can go a long way. Make it a little bit more difficult for that Junkrat.
And speaking of that, Juno's getting up there. Here comes the Annihilation. There's 2 of them. Is that going to answer on the other side? No, that is going to be an ultimate, though. Juno tosses this one. Couple losses, but this is mostly just off the back of ultimate damage from Grab there from their Riptire. This will be first tick, definitely. Probably second. I have to wonder if the defense is going to be willing to give this one up. No Lucio switch tells me that they are.
And what's crazy is that wasn't even Lake Stevens' Annihilation. That was Nooksack Valley's Annihilation, and they still lose the point here. The payload gets unlocked. They get 4 minutes on the board. They've got Annihilation. They've got Kitsune Rush, and Genji and the rest of the crew not too far off. Lake Stevens has put themselves in the driver's seat to go up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, with a whole lot of time right here and good catch. I get my teams mixed up sometimes. Oh, mama. Got the Kitsune Rush available, and I actually really like this look. Lake Stevens pushing really, really far forward. I mean, they own this entire corner right here. There's nobody from Nooksack Valley even really pressuring onto payload. Here comes not 1, but 2 Kitsune Rushes. They're on sale today, Hot Sauce.
That's right. I just handed them out. Everybody gets a Kitsune Rush here. Unfortunately, it's Omama, the first to fall, and it's Agnes from the sky finding Omama. Pops the out, gets Gopher, finds Kakashi as well, and the wind that was hoisted to the sails of Lake Stevens has quickly been stifled away. It's a phenomenal stop here from Nooksack Valley, but they've got to hold strong for 3 more minutes and 10 seconds.
I really want to see this Genji Blade here. We have not seen Genji pull ultimate with success or really any effect so far in team fights across this King's Row map. It is just weak, or it is just game number 1 though, of course. And I mean, to a certain extent, you have to be ult tracking, so you have to kind of know. Like maybe Grab is back at theirs by now, but you have to assume that, especially his healer's not going to be able to have him after Kitsune rush in the window earlier. Here comes the deflect. You really want to have that one up, and the dash, obviously, for when you actually pull Blade. Oh, that's good.
Oh, we see another pick coming in from Berkey on that Genji. Find a little success in toward that background. They're trying to deal with that grab. They're able to do so, and that allows Gopher to pick up another. The domino effect in full effect as Smudge goes down. Kakashi winning the battle. Bean Burrito, a consolation prize. But that is all it is. And with that, they are dangerously close. We're going to see a little bit of a switch come out, but I don't know if they are able to get back in time here.
Again, no Lucio makes this a lot harder. I mean, they had a Venture earlier that can definitely get there. You have to try. Man, I especially given that they didn't actually need to get to second point right there. I really have to assume that the Lucio would have been the best move, not just for the positive speed for himself, but for others.
Lucio, hamster ball. I mean, you have a few options to try and get out there, and you know, even if it's not maybe a strong suit for you, I think it's just about finding that time and looking to give your team an opportunity. Despite having that loss, though, they still secure the play of the game. It's smudged up here in a nasty 4K, the Quadra off the back of Annihilation. It was a job well done, but it just goes to show you that, you know, these two teams, why they're undefeated. 4-0 here. It comes down to the wire. Lake Stevens, they get the edge in map number 1. Can they maybe break out the brooms and close it down in 2?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome to see Nooksack Valley. And honest, so what's from the tank play from Smudged, especially in the first half of this one, tells me that this is. I could really assume they're going to see some extra Overwatch here, which obviously we here on the desk are always about. 2-1. This was not like a massive roll on the one side. Yes, Lake Stevens ended with significantly more time. Coaching staff, Mr. Wood, going to be really happy for that one. Nooksack Valley. Big shout out to Zabawaki, if I am reading this correctly, off of the match page online. I always want to give our Esports Scholastic coaches, big shout out, right? These are individuals that give up a little bit extra of themselves and of their time to help out Scholastic Esports and these young people to go forth and have amazing opportunities that may or may not existed 20 years ago when Hot Sauce and I were around their age. No more soapbox. So we'll hop on into this next one. We're looking at Control next. Options are Route 66, Circuit Royale, Rialto, Dorado, Watchpoint, Gibraltar, Stromboli Monastery, Havana, and I just read out all the escort maps.
I was going to say, those are
Midtown, Blizzard Portal. Wait, sorry. Busan, Ilios, Antarctic Peninsula, Oasis, Nepal, Lijiang, and Samoa. I have not been on my casting game today here, Hot Sauce. I called the wrong team earlier. Now just reading things off the list wrong. My goodness.
Yeah, that list is slightly confusing because I've made that exact same mistake only a few weeks ago, I think, when I was here with Orbital. So no harm, no foul, my friend. It happens to the best of us, but you know, I would love to see Nooksack able to come back. I got to say, I love the name Zabawaki for a coach. I think that's great. Coach Woods, I've caught some of his personal streams over on the Lake Stevens side. Very, very passionate about what he does. The students absolutely love him. You love to see it from Rocket League to Overwatch, involved in all of the titles. And so, I think it reflects in the school's record as well. They've got a great program. They've got passionate coaches. They've got players that want to play. And so we see two teams that are undefeated. Regardless of the outcome here today, I think everybody can hold their heads high, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a championship with these two teams again.
Yeah, I mean, it's a winner's mentality to say, oh, well, preseason, would you be happy at 4-1 after week 5? It's a winner's mentality to say, no, we could be 5-0. But realistically, I mean, 4-1, fantastic. This is also the WSSEA, right? So the regular season performance determines postseason placement. We are in week 6 out of 8 right now, and even if they lost every other game, right, you're still ending dead even 500. Let me move it on along here to Samoa. A rather picturesque map it is, Hot Sauce.
Samoa, yeah. I mean, I feel like you almost have to play Maga when you're here. It's very fitting, yes. the lovely beach. There's I'm trying to take a look at I love the scenery here. Shout out to the Observer, but there is one of these sub maps for whatever reason I just struggle to win on. I do like the series of maps as a whole. But the one here on the beach with the open center, for whatever reason, it gives me a tough time.
Gotcha. This map having a whole lot of cover. Not just anybody who just like walking in a straight line. You can't really enjoy coming out of either of these spawn rooms. Taking a look at our tank lineup, we have Smudged Op here for the side of Nooksack. Going back with our Matra back to the sack here for Lake Stevens.
And we are to the beach here, one of 3 of the sub-maps for Samoa. We're going to see both of these teams begin to funnel toward this mid area. You got a platform, some high ground to fight on, but you can kind of dip into these little corridors underneath as well. There's a lot of mobility, and we see Berkey, already to the sky on this Echo. And so maybe expecting that Junkrat, but we don't get it this time. Smudge onto the Winston, going to be trying to get into that backline. The Brawler comp with Lucio here, but it doesn't work out early. Gopher on the May finds the first. Kakashi will find the tank. It's going to be up to Nooksack to regroup.
Yeah, so especially for anybody who's not super familiar with Overwatch, this is kind of a classic, like this composition, or these two compositions right now are kind of the classic difference between like the Brawl compositions that excel at medium range and even close range damage, just maybe not as much as Dive, and then just like hardcore Dive on the other side. Tachyon going on for Soldier 76 obviously changes that up just a little bit. Speaking of Tachyon, they're going to fall first, and this one Kakashi is better, is going to be able to find their number.
I mean, you got the Venture, the Lucio, and that Winston to try and dive in, get out, look to find that target acquisition, get a pick, rinse and repeat. That's the objective here, but it can be tough with the Brawly side there. You've got Kakashi on this Ramatra throwing fist. You have to find a way to deal with Echo in the sky, and May is just annoying any way you look at it. I love a great May player, and so maybe because I like to be annoying when I'm playing Overwatch, but right now they're playing the team comp to a T. Gopher does get low. They're getting close to the ult, though, and that Blizzard a dangerous one.
Nicely done. And yeah, so that's the thing about Dive, right? They don't have like a definitive return base, right? Especially on this map where you kind of there is plenty of cover, but it's just not that far away. That Echo is really going to be able to find you no matter where you end up hiding. Juno up in the air as well can get there. Bomama is able to land these kunais. That's what they're called, right?
Yes,
her damage. Yep, there you go.
You know, and honestly, with the Dive, it is a bit tougher. You have to be able to say, hey, this is the target we're going after in 3, 2, 1, and you try to dive together. Unfortunately, Kakashi does get overextended just a bit. Bean Burrito is going to make him pay. The domino effect will continue here again. It's Grap now on the Bastion, putting down a hailstorm of bullets. He'll find the first, Smudge a second. But we see Lake Stevens falling back quickly, and this is a wise decision, right? They've got 88% already on the board. Realistically, they just have to win one more battle, and they've got 4, almost 5 ultimates to do it.
It's a very good point. We're really only looking at Tac Visor soon for the other side, and that is for Tachyon. Speaking of, here comes the Kitsune Rush. Now the copy. This is so smart for Berkey to go onto the Bastion. They're going to have ultimate in just a second. Nasty Sleep hits it. Bean Burrito may have just saved the day, but as I say that, yeah, this is just going to end up to be a little bit too much. Berkey doesn't find anything off of that. And you see the Lake Stevens squad drop 4 ultimates right here. But as you mentioned, they just don't need a whole lot, right? At 88%, 95, 96, no switches on the other side, no Lucio, no ball, no nothing. That's now twice. Then we're not going to be able to get back to Point Nooksack Valley, and they're not even really going to attempt to, unfortunately, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, you know, and that was the nice thing about Lake Stevens having such a good early hold, right? You get anywhere above that, 85% mark, especially on a map like Samoa on the beach side where that is a long walk back. And so you don't have to worry about staggering out those 4 ults. You don't have to worry about winning multiple battles. You just got to win one more. You pop off all the ults that you got, you secure the dub, and you go up by 1. Now you're sitting at match and series point. If you take this one here on control, which I believe is Volcano, as the submap is listed here, you're done and dusted. You get to remain undefeated, and you also get to be credited as, hey, we're the team that also beat an undefeated team.
Absolutely. Volcano here, I'd say the magma inside is... Yeah, we'll go with it. Right?
Yeah, it's
maybe a little
bit
of a different look. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of a different look than from our picturesque beach scene earlier, right? I think it'd be a little bit cooler sitting on the sand.
Yeah, from the beach to the volcano. Maybe we'll get to downtown if Nooksack can find a way to win this one here. But Not too many swaps just yet. Agnes onto the Soldier could be great. Bean Burrito has been phenomenal on the Ana. Does a great job of targeting Berkey early to get them out of the way, which means Pharah goes down as well. There's no mercy here, which makes that a bit tougher for these two Sky high-flying characters. Kakashi, everybody's going to kind of fall here as well, and it's going to be up to Lake Stevens to reset. This is great for Nooksack because prior it was Lake Stevens with a ton of early percentage. Nooksack gets it first here.
I do love this switch onto Freya. She really does excel, specifically on the sub. Like, she just has so many different areas that she can go in and get solid shots in, headshots or not. Can I have a split look here from Nooksack? Okay, even just trying to get through here is going to be difficult when you have this this Junkrat, right? I mean, you saw why. But as I say that, Berkey showing up in the kill feed, already halfway to ultimate, finding even more value than I thought they were going to. Oh, last shot missed. Grabka gets out. They might be able to mount a counterattack here rather quickly.
Yeah, I mean, they get 30-some% on the board. Lake Stevens is able to battle back. Wrap onto the Junkrat. Won't have to worry about the Pharah or the Echo at this point in time as the swaps and changes have come out. You still got Juno to deal with, but Kakashi nearing that annihilation. Bean Burrito going to need a big play here again.
Kiriko in the back. You have to assume, there you go. There's the Kutsune rush. Berkey, oh my goodness, finds it afterwards. A little bit of back and forth. These tanks are just going at each other, man. There's two. Invest the Riptire, but I do have to say I don't think this was fully necessary. Berkey does find that long walk off a short pier means that you do not give the other squad any ult charge. That's why you saw Panda, you know, it might have looked like an incorrect move, but that is the wise decision there, right? 5-on-1 isn't going to happen, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, you don't give him the free kill, and you don't have to kind of delay your death. You die immediately, you respawn with your team so you can get back out here quickly. Unfortunately, Smudge finds Gopher right away, and I think Berkey just was considering doing the same thing. Thought it was going to go from bad to worse. There's still some members standing here, though. They probably could have eased their way back, looked for a pick. So, unfortunately, they do lose a couple early members, which does mean it's back to the drawing board. For Nooksack, they're nearing that 85% mark. They've got a couple alts on board as well. They now are kind of finding in this position they want to be in. They're kind of in that driver's seat, so to speak.
Yeah. And just a bare misplacement. I'm not being negative, but just because we were talking about it beforehand, I do believe that Berkey was not meaning to do that, especially with how much medium range capabilities this character has. Here comes the ultimate. No, immediately Bean Burrito setting up the anti-aircraft actions. I love it, dude. I mean, yeah, again, always healer main. Always love to see a healer getting it done, right? Providing some really solid influence onto team fights. Bean Burrito. Absolutely plucking them out of the sky. There's no fly zone.
Yeah, you know, that's why I always say, you know, I know you call them a healer, but they're more than a healer, right? They are a support, and that's when I think those supports go to that next level, is when you're able to do more than just heal. You're looking for that play after the play or other than, and that stop there on Freya, just immediately shutting it down, was kind of solidifying that dub for them. They go from losing 100-31 to winning 100-34, and we do get to head to downtown now. So it comes down to the wire. I would love to see a map 3 because, as I always say, I'm a payload fan. I like the hybrid. I like the escort. If we can make the map number 3, it would be escort. So we'll see if Nooksack can keep the dream alive just a little while longer.
Would love it. Would love it. This is what I believe we both kind of said may have been on the board here. A little bit more clean Overwatch, more even-handed matchups, especially, and again, with 4-0 squads. Gopher's DPS pool is really interesting. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's hard to really pin down what it is that this player always does, right? We saw the Soldier 76, we saw some Mei, and now we're looking at some Sombra. We saw different characters in between.
I mean, it's good to have a vast pool, and, you know, it's good to be good with all of them. We've seen Gopher, I think, do that. Berkey as well, now on the Cassidy. They find a bunch of early picks, and I think that's what it takes to make a great team even better. You've got to be comfortable on multiple different characters and potentially a couple different roles as well. Lake Stevens putting that on great display here.
Have to agree with you. Even with Gopher falling, like I think what this is really is this is like a risk reward, like high risk, high reward. Like this is a squad from Lake Stevens that's still confident in 4v5. Even if Gopher does go for it, doesn't get the hacks, doesn't get early eliminations, and gets out with their life, right? I really think this is like a really calculated decision, definitely coming on down from high. From, what is that, Mr. Wood here from Lake Stevens.
Oh, we'll see Grapp back onto the Junkrat, trying to pepper in some nades and make their job a little bit more difficult here on the receiving end. The tank does go low, and Kakashi is punished by Agnes, who's also taken out by Berkey. Trades come in 1-for-1. Smudge hanging on here. He's almost taken down, but the support able to keep him up, and Knuckles on this Kiriko has been phenomenal. Berkey, though, and the rest of the crew from Lake Stevens continue to rain down damage towards site.
Did that? I think that nade did land. Fantastically done. And another snooze fest. Berkey trying to find elimination takes a short nap instead.
I mean, Bean Burrito has been arguably one of the best players out here on the field today, and already back toward that alt. Smudge has the Annihilation as well and needs to try to find a way to pop it sooner than later. The Tree of Life will come out, though, and maybe just wait until it's done.
Here you go. Annihilation, fear for Smudge. Kakashi is better, will have theirs soon. Will they pop it in like 3 seconds or so? Online, here comes the Juno ultimate. Oma falls through the thick of things. A huge source of damage done. Hack on your screen right now. Kiriko finished with a melee as well, as these tanks are absolutely going at each other.
I mean, back and forth. It's Plaid Stripes in the kill feed for a moment, and the moment is gone. And when the dust settles and the bodies fall, it is Nooksack Valley standing tall on the site. Now they find themselves just cresting the halfway point. They pass up Lake Stevens. The alt economy is about equal, slightly in favor of Nooksack. And this final map 3 here of Control might just come down to the wire.
It definitely is. Orisa switch now here for Lake Stevens, not against the change as well. 50% for Bean Burrito as well. We have 4 ultimates that are available. All of them are DPS ultimates. Expect some eliminations in this next team fight, Hot Sauce.
Expecting big plays here, and for Nooksack, if they can hold on, they might just be able to solidify it. But Agnes goes out early. Nice. He doesn't get to use the tactical visor. Grapple the 2K. Smudge will find the 3rd. And together, Nooksack Valley looks to trudge through the trenches and come out on top.
The Juno stays here and continues to contest. We might have teams getting back. We go Genji. We go the Soldier 76. They're trying to get back to this one. 96, you got to touch. Will it happen? Juno. There, they touch. No, perfectly slotted. Grab gets it right in the middle between Omama and Panda. No healers alive. I think we know what this one's going to go to, unless Berkey. Nah, yeah, especially with the anti-melees and more. Lake Stevens drops this one, and Nooksack fights back from the brink to tie up this series.
Love it. We're headed to get escort. I mean, they tried to get back in time. Grab said, hey, let's show him what's behind door number 2. It's a Riptire. He finds a big double kill to help solidify that dub. But play of the game, Bean Burrito, well deserved, was a monster and a menace on this Ana, from denying big ultimates to shutting down opposing plays to sniping enemies out of the sky. You name it. They certainly did it there in that one, and a big key part in bringing Nooksack Valley back in this. It goes all the way the distance to map number 3. I'm blessed with some escort. I'm pleasantly pleased.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Now I'll read this off correctly. How about that? Escort, the map number 3. Route 66, Circuit Royale, Rialto, Dorado, Watchpoint, Gibraltar, Shambhala Monastery, Havana, Junkertown, which obviously means there's not a whole lot of maps that are within the game that are not within this one. We'll get our picks in for a second. I gotta say, bro, Bean Burrito putting up a really, really strong vote. Like, even if Lake Stevens had taken this, I might have been willing to give the MVP to, like, the most valuable player individual over to a Nooksack Valley player that was Bean Burrito. Yes, this is healer bias. Yes, this is Ana bias specifically, because even though I'm a Lucio main, I do absolutely love Ana, but every time we looked at this player, I don't think they were missing shots. Like this is perfect. Like quartering plays out from their healing grenade as well. Like we didn't see that anti-grenade land onto their Ramatra and then bounce, meaning that they didn't need that, right, to get onto their Ramatra afterwards. That was just perfectly slotted and didn't miss a whole lot of shots. Just constantly hitting sleeps in the most crucial of times as well, like tanks while they're ulting, flanking DPS. It just doesn't really get much better than that.
No, it literally playing that support, that character specifically to a T, and it's not that easy. I dabble in support myself. I tend to like Moira, but Ana's very difficult to play, and Bean Burrito certainly made that look easy. So off to Escort we go, which Lake Stevens did do a little better on that payload style map. We saw them kind of have a slightly more dominating performance on Kings Row. So you never know, but you'd like to think maybe that does favor them a little bit. Nooksack Valley seems to be on a roll, though. The momentum seems to be in their favor. It's up to Lake Stevens where we head, though. And so they do get that benefit. Nooksack Valley will get to decide whether they want to attack or defend on the map that we're headed in. Honestly, I haven't seen Shambali Monastery in a long time. It's not a popular map, but I love that map. I would love to see some of that.
I'd love to see it as well. I haven't seen as much Junkertown recently, right? If we're just talking about, because I've been grinding this. I was playing Marvel Rivals for like a while, and I just I kind of just like hit a wall a little bit with it, right? Like it just didn't seem. I'm not going to say it's imbalanced, but it wasn't balanced in such a way that I really felt like was most ideal. That you can't say that about Overwatch. This is just it's a fantastic game. We're back to the original now. Well, Overwatch 2, what are you talking about, Hot Sauce? Did you hit your head or something? Right? No, it's been Overwatch the whole time here, folks. It really is a beautifully balanced game. If we're just making picks based on like what we want or whatever, based on Circuit Royale as well, I have not seen a whole lot of Circuit Royale, but I honestly don't really like Circuit Royale that much. So that's cool with me. Let's go Junkertown.
Yeah, I've seen a couple recently. That second checkpoint on Circuit Royales, I think, is a really tough one with that windy little racetrack there as well. Yeah. If you lose the payload and you have to reset, then you almost have no cover coming back. I know we got to see a little bit of Dorado the other day, maybe in a different league that I was casting, but Route 66, I think, is another popular one. Junkertown, I kind of have to agree. It's been a little bit of a time since I've seen that. Shambali Monastery, but honestly, most of the maps I enjoy. Like I'm really not disappointed, even though Kings Row I see all the time. It tends to be kind of on that more least favorite side. The students are comfortable there. They always play really, really well there, and so Kings Row always breeds very competitive matches. So I'm always happy to see it as well.
Yeah, it's just a really well-made map, like, overall. I think most people can appreciate the significant change. I mean, the hybrid game mode is just really good in general, I feel like. A little bit of control, a little bit of pushing the payload, like more quintessential Overwatch, right? But the geographical changes, like the categorical geographical changes between, like, relatively open, some hard cover, a bunch of walls, like, once you first open up point, and then it's just narrow. Narrow as gets. Anybody who's able to drop down and do damage quickly, your Mays, your Reapers, things like this, right, are just going to absolutely feast on like across the narrows, right? Once you actually find that payload all the way through, and then it opens up a lot more with area on both sides and above you, right? And then payload actually ends out on Kings Row is like pretty much as open like a final payload destination as you get across the entire game. And you even have a little bit of environmental elimination capabilities, right? The Lucio main side of me is happy about that one.
I love any map where you can boot people off or use the environment to your favor. But it looks like we're headed to Venice, Italy. It is Rialto this time. And honestly, I love this map as well. I think we've seen a lot of successful Sigmas, but realistically, there's a ton of tanks that work really well here. There is a few spots where you can use that environment. We see one there, but initially out of this first checkpoint as well, there's a bridge that you have to cross. We've seen Roadhogs, Orissas, all kinds of different tanks have success, but it looks like we're holding true to the Ramatras at the moment. Smudge may be toying the idea with that Sigma.
I'm not against that whatsoever. That's actually the only difference we haven't seen here for Nooksack. On the other side, maybe a little bit of a different look. The Mizuki now getting at least represented. We saw plenty of Ana earlier, and I have to say that just makes sense, right? If your Ana falls here, you a long walk back for a character that has no movement abilities.
You know, I'm glad that we get to see Mizuki. I think Mizuki is
Yes.
really strong. I love the heals. I love the damage. It's reminiscent of when Moira first came out. And so I love to see that we do get to see Mizuki coming out here. Gopher onto the Ashe. The DPS roster pool is vast. It is deep. We talked about it earlier. It continues to amaze. Berkey onto the Sojourn. And this is a great composition for them. We'll see how far we can get here in this initial push, though. Smudge looking to get up front and mitigate a ton of this early damage. You've got the rock for a stun, and you can certainly pressure forward.
Yeah, and I think that rock stun is going to be big. Ooh, barely missed it on this one, and now this Ramacho is going to feel a little bit more comfortable pushing onto it. Looking for heads is Gopher as of right now. Berkey's going to be the one to find one, however. Second DPS done as Tachyon continues to be either really make or break in first team, like the initializing team fights, right? Either they find a lot, or they're going to be the one to fall first for their squad in team fights.
We'll see. On board here with Bean Burrito, continues to pepper in shots from this Ana. Sigma looking to get healed up here as well, and Bean from the back line will continue as we take a look across the board here. Berkey, everybody just kind of stalling things out. I mean, this is a good initial stand here from the defensive point of view.
If Bean can get an anti through that open doorway right there, well, you don't have to philosophize about his grab falling here and early. DPSs for the side of Nooksack to be the first to fall in both of these team fights, and maybe a slower offensive push. I mean, they got around corner, but here comes the Kitsune rush. Yep, this is smart. Just get back. Just get all the way back. Good job. You just wasted your Kitsune rush. This is such smart, disciplined Overwatch here from Nooksack Valley, gotta say.
And that's what it takes to win big games, to beat undefeated teams. And right now, I mean, it was looking a bit rough for Nooksack initially. We saw Lake Stevens take Kings Row pretty dominantly. They opened up with a map one as well, and then Nooksack, they dug their heels in deep, and they've been able to battle back, and now looking to close it out and steal the win away. Gopher's got other plans, though, and a big pick on the Bean Burrito could spell trouble for Nooksack.
I like the idea, the immediate disengage, and then you whip it around to the other sideline, try and get it done through here. But you have to realize you're trying to get this done with Berkey, with Gopher, right down the middle with Kakashi, able to block a lot of that damage, and then you have the kunais and everything the Mizuki can throw you, not even counting their hindering, right? I mean, you might be able to get it off the corner right here and actually get environmental eliminations there, especially if somebody like really freaks out and just like jams their mouse or their WASD, right?
Well, here's what they got to do. They got to get Grap up here. They've got Berkey and Gopher and often members standing up on this high ground, and they haven't been able to deal with it, and that's where it can be tough for the Ramatra. Someone like a Diva, a Winston, something to get up there and disrupt that high ground. There's a lot of verticality here in early opening moments of Rialto, and right now, Lake Stevens is using it to their advantage.
Nicely done. Another headshot. And again, disciplined Overwatch. Bob comes out, headshot lands. Once again, they don't really... I mean, yes, you're running a little bit low on time. But this isn't, sub 30 coming into this. And this payload is spitting distance away. They'll be able to get on top of it. It's such smart. So smart. Such smart. So smart.
Mini smarts. All the smarts is what we're witnessing right here. It's Lake Stevens has had one heck of a stand, but off the back of the tactical visor. Agnes says we are not ready to go silently into the night. He makes his stand. They find big picks. Knuckles will go fist to fist with the opposing Kariko and come out on top. I don't know. They're going to have to, the overtime fuse is most likely going to be lit here. They're going to have to win another big important battle.
Yeah, I thought Panda was maybe going to be able to get out with it, right? Sitting in the gondola and kind of hiding there. I have to wonder if this is a little bit like if I don't move, they can't see me, right? Like the T-Rex vision. Not sure. Berkey, here it comes. Looking for it. An immediate answer. Wise decisions. Berkey beats their counterpart Grap. And Berkey absolutely feasting, headhunting as of right now. Looking for the quad. Gets damage on, doesn't quite get it for. So, offense gets out, we'll call it 5/6, excuse me, of the way there, something like that.
Berkey having fun with the railgun absolutely goes mental, and if this one ends shortly, that most likely is going to be the play of the game, just popping heads and getting bread as we see a monstrous play again. And that's the crazy thing about Lake Stevens is they just have a ton of talent, right? We saw Gopher, we saw Panda, we saw Berkey. Everybody has just been kind of filling that role as needed, and so payload, we saw it on Kings Row, right? Now we're beginning to see it here a bit on Rialto as well. And they honestly do not have very far to go at all.
Yeah, 77 meters. I mean, yes, that's basically all the way there, but I mean, especially given the time that you get added for actually getting there, regardless of the actual point on the board there, this just makes it so much harder for this to defend, really. And you have to think about your characters as well. So, I mean, Knuckles has a movement ability. Baptiste doesn't. Junkrat can get places fast, and Tachyon, I guess, is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, they do it from the defensive side here, so it's not a bad setup. I just want to make sure they're using the high ground like Lake Stevens did, because you look at Lake Stevens' composition, and they don't really have a lot of capability of knocking people off the high ground either, other than that Sojourn or maybe tossing some dynamites up in toward that window. But they've got to use that same style of verticality here if they want a fighting chance.
They're just going to give up first checkpoint. This is completely free so far. Do they get over the other side? No boop capabilities, nothing. Do you have an Alari on the other side, so that should increase the damage capabilities for what these healers can put out. Panda, obviously not really having a whole lot of problems with that in the first couple of games, though. Bastion, I do love this one. This should help for this chokehold as well. Turns the attention on high. And actually sends that one back. I believe that might have actually started the burning there from the teammate. Almost gets it, but Smudge Pop is going to be the first to fall. Agnes or Tachyon, whichever, down as well. Offense is a-rolling right now. Hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm surprised they give up that bridge for free. I mean, you don't have much room to go. You need to pressure toward that bridge. You need to use the high ground. Instead, they give it up, which means the high ground is given up. They're able to get up into both of those buildings. It causes, a ruckus for Bastion. He can't focus on the checkpoint or the choke point. He's got to focus up top. And for Lake Stevens, they walk it on in with ease. So what was a very, very close back and forth battle, some tug of war, ends up being a favorable Lake Stevens third and final map. They'll remain undefeated here in season 2026 as they go to 5-0. For Nooksack Valley, they're back to the drawing board. They only fall to 4-1 though, and they're still sitting very high up for seeding.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, folks, I feel like this was the perfect Overwatch match, right? Because we see hybrid control escort, one team clearly showing just like a little bit better when it comes to actually playing that payload, right? And like the moving objective. And then you see the other squad finding a lot of value on the front side of hybrid, and then winning on the payload map. I mean, 2-1, 2-0, doesn't matter, right? Still taking the victory out, especially the way in which Nooksack Valley took down that third map, right? And again, it just shows clear cut and like wise Overwatch. Okay, we have 4 ultimates available. They may have one. Is like if we're ult tracking, I think it was like 85. That's like a reasonable margin of error, right? Okay, they may have one. We just need to wipe 4 because we're already up to like 85 or 80% or something like that. We just need to win 1 team fight, and that math is really easy at that point. Again, really, really good Overwatch from both of these squads. Neither of these teams, well, I should say, the Lake Stevens should feel great about the victory. Nooksack Valley on the other side really should not feel that bad about this one, right? A first loss. It's 2-1 overall. It's relatively close within the first map, and the second one was just. I think we both pointed it out. Once they only get a little bit of distance, the decision to not hold on to bridge, which is like the first real test on this Rialto defense, kind of set this up for like just the snowball effect, right? Starts with a little problem, turns into a much bigger one.
That's why it's important to have that deep roster role there, and a good sense of map knowledge on various different maps. Luckily for Lake Stevens, they win map 1. So even if they lose map 2, then they get to decide where they go for map 3. So you get a little bit of that kind of in your corner, that home field advantage, if you will. And so it just seemed like Nooksack wasn't quite prepared for Rialto. They didn't use that early high ground that we saw Lake Stevens take advantage of. They certainly seemed a little bit more comfortable in Rialto. And in a best of 3, it's tough, especially for a series like Overwatch. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see these two teams clash again. I hope it is in the postseason where it is a best of 5 or a best of 7, and you really get to test, both teams to maximum potential.
Yeah, like really go the distance right there and see how, your push and clashes would go, in say a best of 7 or what have you. That said, I want to give a shout out here to LANFest. This broadcast, in fact, is part of LANFest's Scholastic Esports program. That's a program that supports this league and many, many others in other great states. Since launching, LANFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington, Indiana specifically. specifically. That number is much, much higher now because we started reading that one at the beginning of last semester, Hot Sauce. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams we cover, and your generous donations do, of course, help to make this possible. Every $200 raised, in fact, covers the operating costs for one of these regular season broadcasts. If you appreciate our work, scan the QR code on your screen and donate today if you so choose. Hot Sauce, like I said, man, this was some really, really great Overwatch. Shout out to all the players involved. Shout out to Mr. Wood over there, Lake Stevens. Shout out to Zabawaki there for Nooksack Valley. There's only like a couple of very, very easily rectifiable mistakes that I could identify from either of these squads or like Nooksack Valley that we were talking about there towards the very, very end. That was just like, you know, if you just do this one tiny thing differently, it's a coin flip. We're still watching, we're still commentating this Overwatch match, man. Like, really, really good. This is some of the better Overwatch I've gotten to cover in a while, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think it resonates with those 4-0 records, you know. So Nooksack Valley, they'll get back to the drawing board. I no doubt in my mind we'll see them again. I look forward to seeing these two Titans clash once more. But a short but sweet day for us, as always. Before we get going, though, we got to thank all the wonderful people that we've got behind the scenes, not just here at WSSEA, but at Landfest as well. Connie, Taylor, both always producing such a wonderful stream, the observing, you name it. They make our job so much easier, so we certainly appreciate them. And, of course, everybody hanging out with us in chat, from the parents, the teachers, to the students, we certainly appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit that follow button down below. It's a free and easy way to help out so you don't miss out on all the action, including Super Smash Brothers, I believe, happening tomorrow, same time, same place. My name is Hot Sauce. The handsome man to my digital right is FBI Tugboat. You guys have been absolutely beautiful. Please enjoy the rest of your evening.